gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the hallowed halls of the legendary Victoria Stampede Pavilion as the Wild Rose Sports Association, in conjunction with Lakeview Inns and Suites of Okotoks, Federal Metals, Polar Mobility Research, Grover Law Firm, Bull River Logistics, Siding Wizards, the Kinsman Club of Calgary, the Alberta Wrestling Academy, Misfit Mission Collectibles, Odell Electric, Rosedale Transport, the Veterans Association Food Bank, Court for Less, Frontline Security, Trident Communications, Nice Tattoos, Duke's Plumbing, and two absolutely wonderful charity organizations, Bikers Are Buddies, and Kingsburg Calgary, and our affiliate wrestling promotions, Pure Power Wrestling, Canadian Wrestling's Elite, Real Canadian Wrestling, Monster Pro Wrestling, and Can-Am Wrestling all present the first annual Alberta Professional Wrestling Invitational Tournament Battle for the Belts. Wrestling fans, tonight we present two elimination round matches in each of the heavyweight, tag team, junior heavyweight, women's, and hardcore divisions. Each of tonight's winners will advance to tomorrow night's finals, where each new champion will be presented with a fantastic new Wild Rose Sports Association championship belt. At this time, please help me in welcoming tonight's ring attendants, May Delight, Holly Von Merlot, and Dinah Michaels, the Hellbound Honeys. Wrestling fans from the legendary Stampede Pavilion, are you ready? Calgary, Alberta, it's time for the Alberta Professional Wrestling Invitational Tournament Battle for the Belts. Shut up, loudmouth Mo. Wrestling fans, this is the hardcore division elimination match number 1.
Wild Rose Sports Association Alberta Professional Wrestling Invitational Tournament. I'm Mark the Shark DiCarlo, along with my broadcast partner, former Canadian Wrestling Elite, multi-time heavyweight and tag team champion himself, the Canadian Crusher, AJ Sanchez. AJ, welcome to night number 1 of pay-per-view action.
We're here, it's finally happening. Wild Rose Sports Association, first annual Invitational Pro Wrestling Tournament. We are here at the legendary Stampede Victoria Pavilion, and we're in for a hell of a night. Shark.
Absolutely. And we're kicking it off with match number 1 in the hardcore division.
284 pounds from Winnipeg, Manitoba. He is the Canadian Wrestling's Elite 1-2-3-4.ca hardcore champion, and he has been named by hardcore legends Pantera Purple, Wildman Purple, Marty Goldstein, and Caveman Broda as the baddest man in Canadian professional wrestling. He is the Misfit Mike Mission.
AJ Sanchez, Mike Mission, comes with a resume a mile long, but the bottom line is he is one badass dude.
I can tell you a thing or two about Mike Mission, and none of them are pretty. Whether it's in the ring, outside of the ring, this is one tough, bad man, and he's going to prove that here. Who's his opponent?
His opponent is another Canadian wrestling hardcore legend, the one and only Viking Lord Vince Austin to a thunderous applause by the crowd.
At 216 pounds from the Isle of Newfoundland, he is Bill of Ranking Range. This is the Fighting Man.
Oh boy, we're getting things underway. We're not waiting. We're not waiting for the ring announcer to stop talking. We're getting things underway, and we're starting things hot and heavy here with hardcore action, the hardcore division. Am I right, Shark?
That's right, hardcore division match number 1. The winner of this match between Vince Austin and Mike Mission will advance to night number 2 for the finals to determine who will be the first ever Wild Rose Sports Association hardcore champion. And Canadian Crusher, they're on the outside. It is hardcore. All the tools of the trade in the ring. Good luck to referee Ben Oman for having any sort of control over this.
He might as well just throw his hands in the air. He's just going to follow them around the whole building, I'm pretty sure. And when we're talking about hardcore wrestling in Canada, I'm glad my name doesn't get brought up with this, but we talk about Vince Austin and Mike Mission. These are two guys that exemplify hardcore. And as I see here, we've got a man inside the guardrail. Who is that? What's going on?
That is the one and only Steve, Who's Your Daddy Wild. It looks like he's out scouting this match as we watch Vince Austin and Mike Mission ascend to the top of the legendary Stampede Pavilion. And I'm kind of having a flashback to the 1968 winter season of Stampede Wrestling when the then madman from the Sudan, Abdullah the Butcher, ascended to the top of the Stampede Pavilion. It took him quite a while, as I'm sure you can imagine, in his fight with Archie the Stomper Goldie. They went about an hour, and I don't know what's going to happen between Mission and Austin, whether it's going to reach the level of brutality that Abdullah the Butcher and Archie the Stomper Goldie did. But they're starting out hot and heavy, as you mentioned, AJ, and God only knows what's going to happen here.
There's a lot of history in this building, and we're adding to that history here tonight. And to get things started off with a hardcore match tells you exactly what the Wild Rose Sports Association is all about. Vince Austin is literally tumbling down the stands as Steve Wild on the outside looks on.
And once again, the question is, what in the blue hell is Steve Wild doing out here? He is not in the hardcore tournament. And basically the winner of this match between Vince Austin and Mike Mission will face the winner of the upcoming match between the Born Again Bruiser Wrath and British Columbia's hardcore legend Moondog Manson. That should be as well a lesson in brutality.
Absolutely, 4 of the best in all of Canada. Now, I would be lying if I said I'm not curious about what Steve Wild is doing on the floor. Something's going on, and I'm not quite sure what it is. And I like to be in the know, Shark. I like to know these things.
Well, and I profess to be in the know, and I just absolutely don't know what Steve Wild is doing out there as we see Mike Mission and Vince Austin roll back in on the inside of the guardrail now, and maybe they're going to get back in the ring, but certainly not right now as Austin catches Mission with a big kick and a big hard punch. As you can see, Vince Austin has his fist taped. Mike Mission on his left arm has got the Cowboy Bob Orton Jr.-ish cast. And I don't know, the last time I saw Mike Mission in person was about 3 years ago, and he had his cast on his wrist then.
Well, the man tends to break a lot of bones, and that happens when you're fighting hardcore matches like this all the time, especially against legends like Vince Austin.
Well, and the legendary Vince Austin taking that barbed wire baseball bat and rubbing it into the neck, face, and side of the head areas of Mike Mission. And it's not like Mike Mission doesn't have enough scars on his head, and he's rubbing it into his shoulder and now hitting him in the midsection with that barbed wire baseball bat. It kind of got caught in Mike Mission's testicular area there for a moment.
Look at these two men. One man is wearing a patch over his eye. I presume he's missing an eyeball.
Correct.
We've got a man with a cast on his arm. He's got a broken wrist, a broken hand, whatever he's got going on there, and they're still fighting. And there's barbed wire involved. Like this was never going to be pretty. We don't expect it to be pretty. And these two men don't even know each other. And they're trying to kill each other.
And you're absolutely correct, because Mark the Shark DiCarlo spoke to both Vince Austin and Mike Mission to get a feel for this match. Not only do they not know each other, but obviously because of that, this is the first time they've ever faced each other, and they're beating the living hell out of each other. And now we see Vince Austin a little bit hungry, so he's going to go for a bit of a in-match snack on Mike Mission's upper left arm.
You know, this is a big deal. All the history of this venue, this whole event, this 2-day event, this is a big deal. So these men are going to naturally put it all on the line, and that's going to make things real interesting for those in attendance. And Mike Mission, no regard for his body whatsoever, and that's probably why he's wearing that cast on his arm. Just threw his whole body weight at Vince Austin on the floor. There's no mats on the floor. Look at that. There's no mats.
Vince Austin sitting prone in the chair, and Mike Mission off the ring apron with a big jumping cannonball. I mean, you know, and that's a pretty athletic maneuver for a guy Mission size, but he's got another chair that he's putting into the ring. I don't even know whether he knows what's coming up. Austin cuts him off, as you can see, with a foot to the abdominal area and a couple of big elbows to the back of the head, AJ. Oh!
They're throwing bombs.
Takes that belt and waffles Mission right across the side of the head. Mission doesn't know whether he's foot or horseback, and he's definitely hearing bells in his head.
He absolutely is, and Mission doesn't know what to make of it. He's just biting his arm. There's no more, no less. Nothing fancy. He's just biting him.
Well, I'm not sure whether Vince Austin has been watching Mad Dog Vachon matches in preparation for this. Boom! And Mike Mission takes a long playing, for those of you that are not old enough, this is actually a record that we used to listen to music on in the old days.
If I believe that's your old Rolling Stones record, and yeah, it's in a million pieces right now.
Well, and somewhat like Keith Richards' drinking career. But anyways, look at, he takes a jagged piece of the record and jams it in to the forehead and then the arm of Vince Austin. Unbelievable, the level of brutality that both Vince Austin and Mike Mission are stooping to. Mike Mission picks up Vince Austin and body slams him onto that chair, and what's he going to do? It looks like he's going to go up top, but he's taking his time as he ascends to the top turnbuckle, and once again, Steve Wild scouting the match. For what reason, we have absolutely no idea. Vince Austin cuts off Mike Mission and body slams him all the way from the top turnbuckle onto that chair, back first.
Mike Mission claims to be the baddest man in all of Canadian wrestling, and that was a bad idea going to the top rope. And what are we going to see? We might see the snuff pile driver.
Oh, and here,
yep,
Steve Wild interferes.
Well,
of course, it's hardcore, so there's no DQ.
Well, it's clear what Steve Wild is doing out here. He's got some sort of beef with Vince Austin.
Vince Austin, yeah.
And oh no, this is not going to end well.
Mike Mission has put the barbed wire bat on Vince Austin, a big front splash off the top rope. 1, 2, and 3. Wow. And there you have it, the CWE123 approved.ca hardcore champion, Mike Mission, advancing to night number 2 in the finals of the Wild Rose Sports Association Hardcore Championship match. But post-match here, Steve Wild in the ring. You were right, AJ. He has got a beef with Vince Austin, and he's beating the bejesus out of Austin right now.
Well, the man just wrestled a hardcore match. Mike Mission can't get the barbed wire detached from his body, and now Steve Wild. This is wild. Everything's wild.
What is the ring announcer trying to do to pull Steve Wild off of him? Wow.
Looks like he might have been massaging his traps, but no. This is not good. This is not good for Vince Austin.
Unbelievable. And you know what? I have no idea what the history is between Steve Wild and Vince Austin.
Wait one second.
Here comes Real Canadian Wrestling Steven Styles.
Oh my God.
I've never seen Steven Styles move that quickly.
And quickly start limping right after, of course.
Oh my God.
He might have blown a quad sliding into the ring.
Wow. I think that I know he likes Kevin Nash, but blowing a quad is definitely in the playbook as we see Steven Styles run off Steve Wild.
You know what? Wild, hang on. Just hang on. Ladies and gentlemen, please help us in welcoming our special co-commissioner of the evening. He spent years overnight editing Stampede Wrestling for viewing on Saturday afternoons. Ladies and gentlemen, Ross Hart.
What an interesting turn of events.
Ross, you saw the level to which Steve Wild stooped in interfering and costing Vince Austin the match tonight.
The outside interference was uncalled for, and your attack on Vince Austin after the match was also very unprofessional and unsportsmanlike. There's no call for that, Mr. Wild.
And so because of that,
because I have been appointed as one of the commissioners for Can-Am Wrestling tonight, I am going to sanction a match between you and Mr. Austin one night from tonight. Tomorrow night, you will face him.
there you have it, wrestling fans. Co-Commissioner Ross Hart has made the match between Steve Who's Your Daddy Wild and the Canadian hardcore legend himself, Vince Austin, tomorrow night in this very ring.
Well, AJ Sanchez, there you see the decree of Commissioner Ross Hart that in fact there will be a match on night number 2 of the WRSA Invitational Tournament, on night number 2 of the pay-per-view between the Viking Lord Vince Austin and Steve Who's Your Daddy Wild. That came out of nowhere.
That sure did. And what a way to get things started here.
Well, and starting is what we did in fine hardcore fashion. Coming up next,
We're going to need some time to clean up the ring and get ready for hardcore match number 2, and we'll be right back.
I'm Mark the Shark DiCarlo along with the Canadian Crusher AJ Sanchez, and we will be right back with hardcore match number 2 on night number 1 of the Wild Rose Sports Association Alberta Professional Wrestling Invitational Tournament pay-per-view.